Hi, I'm Jay, owner of Volunteer Audio in Oliver Springs, Tennessee. I'm sitting in a 2021 Jeep JL Gladiator Sport. We're going to do a huge audio upgrade on this Jeep and show you exactly why you're unhappy with yours and how easy it is to make it sound awesome. All right, so we're going to start with our overhead speakers. I'm going to go ahead and remove the factory grills. For this, we're using a T30 Torx. I understand the factory bolts are Allen head, but the T30 Torx fits it perfect, and that's actually what the instructions from Alpine say to use. So we're going to follow their instructions. That way you can see exactly how it works out if you do that. So first step, we're going to remove the 4 bolts to hold our grill on. After that, we're going to remove both of the speakers. All right. Now we won't be using these bolts to put the new set in. It comes with new longer bolts. So grill's out. Next we're going to move over to a Torx driver to take the other speakers out. This particular one, let me get you the size here. It's a T20 Torx to remove our 4-inch along with our 2.5-inch mid twiddler, they call it. So simply unplug the speaker and take it out. We're not going to reuse it. We will reuse this wiring to connect our Alpine overhead system. All right, a couple more T20 Torx bolts on our mid, or the 2.5-inch twiddler mid. There's definitely not a tweeter in here, factory. Now, I listened to this beforehand, and we went really high in volume. Well, you would say it's high in volume. It really wasn't loud, but we went up on the radio. I had my EQ set flat to make sure that we weren't overpowering it with extra bass. And all this thing does is rattle and distort. I completely understand why people want to take all of this out. So the T20 took our 2 mids out. The T30 comes back into place to remove this port, and you definitely want to take this out as well. So factory, they did port the enclosure to try to get a little more bass out of those 4-inch speakers, but you really just can't get a good result with 4s. Again, none of this hardware is going to be reused. There are ports out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and disassemble the other side, and then we'll come back with our template and we'll cut this out. All right, so I've disassembled both of our overhead speaker pods. We've removed the speakers out. Next step, we're going to install our template. We're just going to use our factory screws that we just took out to mount the template back overhead so we can get a good marking on what we're going to cut out. We are going to use a one-handed sawzall with a jigsaw blade to cut this. Now, you could do this with an actual jigsaw. You could do this with probably a router bit in a Dremel tool of some sort. But we find that the one-handed sawzall with the shorter jigsaw-style blade works well, and we don't have the risk of coming through the back side of the pod. So you definitely don't want a blade that's too long. All right, so as you see there, we just put our template bolted in. Now I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to draw all the way around this so I know what I need to cut out. Very simple process. This is just plastic, so it's very easy to cut. All right, so I've got it marked. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but then I'm going to take our saw and cut out our templated area. The next step that you really need to do is you need to take the factory twiddler wire, push it back through the hole so that it's out so we don't have to risk cutting through it. I normally then take this wiring and I just kind of stick it up past where we're cutting, at least till we get through the first part of the cut. Because I definitely don't want to cut through the factory wiring, and you don't want to either. All right, so I'm going to start my cut here. I'm going to cut through this area, and then I'm going to let my wire hang back down because I don't want to risk cutting it, but I also don't want to risk losing it back in there as I cut the rest of it. Our template comes out and it tells you to cut straight through where this mid was. I've found from previous experience, if you come to that, hole and then cut the edge all the way around, this is going to come out much easier in one piece. And there's no need for it to be there. We're not using any of that structure to mount our new speaker. So you'll watch me cut it out and you'll see I'll actually go around this part instead of straight through it because it just works better that way. Also, your blade, the blade I'm using sticks out a few inches, probably roughly 3 inches. As you come to the front portion where you're cutting over here, you want to pull down your saw some because you don't want to cut through the top of this pod. Be careful of that because I definitely don't want you to have any holes on the outside when you're done. So let's get it cut. Just moving wiring around, making sure we don't cut through any of it. All right, so the first part of this has now been cut. You'll see it's loose. Now this next part is the part where you got to make sure that you don't cut through the outside. So I'm going to drop it down a little bit as I cut. See, our wire's going to want to try to vibrate back out. So now we have our pod cut out. You'll see this isn't really a perfect process. It doesn't have to be. We're just making clearance for our speakers to fit in. This edge now, I'll get the little plastic shavings off and we'll vacuum really well before we install our other pod. So, and we'll also use the main speaker harnesses where it's going to plug in. So let me get this cleaned up. We'll come back with the pod and put it in. All right, so I've cut both sides out. We've re-vacuumed. We'll do that again at the end just as a final. You'll notice that in the package from Alpine that comes with our overhead, it's going to come with these sheets of what we call polyfill. It's like cotton. All you're going to do is stick this up in the hole. This is just going to make it feel like it's in a larger enclosure and make our speakers actually sound better. So they give you these for each side. It just is going to give you a better mid-bass response. So we're going to stick that in both sides. Now we're going to get to install our Alpine overhead system. So this is awesome. It comes already pre-mounted. There's no wiring for you to do, nothing you need to know. And it has the factory Jeep plug already installed. Gaskets are installed. This is how it comes straight out of the box. Very, very simple. So all we're going to do is we're going to plug it in to our factory connection. Push our wires up in the hole so that they're not in the way. Put it in place, and you're going to see that it lines right up with our factory holes. Now, it comes with some longer bolts. They are the same factory thread because we're going into the same hole that comes in your kit. So you're going to want to take those and get those started. I normally start a couple before I tighten any of them. All right, so I've got a couple started now. All right, so this is the fourth one, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten it all the way down. We're using that same T30 Torx driver. And it's really that simple. So we sell several versions. Other companies are making some plates to do something similar to this. I haven't seen anything that even comes close to the quality of the look or the ease of install as the Alpine kit. Much, much better looking than most of the other options and designed specifically for your Jeep with waterproof speakers, proper gaskets. I think this is going to turn out great. So let me go ahead and get the other side done now. All right, as you see, we got our other speaker installed in our overhead. Very easy, plugged in just like the previous side. Bolts line up perfect. Fitment is excellent. This is a huge improvement and exactly what I think it should have been from the factory. Waterproof, very well built. But this is way better than what would have been the factory Alpine system. The Alpine system still uses the 4-inch speakers. It just adds a sub and a little more power. But this is what I think Jeep should have done on a $50,000+ vehicle like these are. But I hope this has encouraged you to make this improvement to your Jeep. I hope it's helped you understand what the process will take and what tools you'll need. If you liked this video, please click the button and like it. Comment if you have any questions and subscribe to our channel because we're going to have many more videos like this. Next, I'm going to be launching a video showing you how to do your front speakers as well, how to add the subwoofer, and later we'll add a new radio to this Jeep also. So subscribe to the channel, share this video, I don't care where it's at, through social media, share it with your friends, share it in the Jeep groups and the forums, and definitely reach out to us. You can buy this at volunteeraudio.com. You can call us at 1-844-30-AUDIO, or you could also send us an email at sales@volaudio.com if you're interested. We'll also have links to this in the description of this YouTube video. Thank you for watching, and as always, God bless.